welcome to Transportation Thursday, WPPA's weekly transportation-themed blog. I'm Chris Herman. I work on trade and transportation related issues for you here at the association. This week's installment, I'm very pleased to say we have our very first interview, and I'm excited to welcome Ron Arp, who is the president of Identity Clark County, to join us today. And welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Chris. Always good to be part of it, and thanks for your tireless work in Olympia and around the state.
So I appreciate working directly with Identity Clark County. You guys have sort of the business-minded focus for the region. Obviously, WPP has 3 members or ports in the region, and all of them are very active with your group, obviously being the Port of Vancouver, USA, the Port of Kamis-Washougal, and the Port of Ridgefield. So today, I wanted to bring you on because one thing we really need to, I think, helps us focus when we're thinking about transportation revenue and how our state continues to move projects forward is I think of the I-5 bridge and the I-5 interstate replacement program that has been underway, has seen some delays, some significant delays, and wanted to really talk to you about ways that our association can help partner with organizations like yours in helping to keep this project and this program moving forward. So, it feels very much like a moment that's pretty critical in relationship to the I-5 bridge project. And we have a lot of opportunity right now. I would say there's a lot of conversations going on at the federal level, whether it be the bipartisan infrastructure package, which appears to be back on track. Earmarking is back, so there's opportunities for specific dedicated funding for projects. And of course, at the state level, we're really trying to keep the momentum going on looking for new revenue for transportation. Can you talk to us a little bit about the critical nature of moving the bridge forward now and looking, I guess, specifically at the state funding needs related to moving the bridge funding and the project forward?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think to begin with, just a reminder that bridge is moving about 135,000 vehicles a day, and traffic is back up, and backlogs are increasing. And it's probably worth noting that the trucking industry does an annual study, and that bridge is Washington State's biggest bottleneck. In fact, it's the Pacific Northwest's biggest bottleneck. And as we start thinking about the need for that, not only is it a bottleneck, but it's really not seismically upgraded. And we continue to have earthquakes, 8.2 recently in Alaska, and we're on the ring of fire. So it's probably only a matter of time until the big one hits. And we can't afford to have no pathway through the I-5 corridor through Portland, Vancouver's metropolitan area. And not only critical for the ports here on both sides of the river, but really ports up and down the coast. The people who make and move goods and freight really rely on that bridge as a critical linkage. And so we need to keep the pressure on. Relative to timing, you're right. We've got potentially $1 trillion package at the federal level. We did some, I think, courageous work in the Washington legislature this last year, and that both the House and the Senate now have transportation packages on the table, and both of them include between $1 billion and $1.2 billion for the I-5 bridge replacement. So that's encouraging. We also know that the Oregon Transportation Commission has become serious about scheduling a $1 billion budget in their work as well. And that we will also have to sort out a local funding package. And all of that work, trying to thread the needle and have a project that needs to be funded by those 4 different components takes a lot of work. And I think we're at a unique time in history, maybe even better than we were 10 years ago, to be able to get it done.
That's great. In relationship to the federal side of things, what are you hearing from your local officials? Are you hearing dedicated money for the project in any of these different bills that are currently advancing?
Yeah, the closest we're hearing is, of course, Peter DeFazio from Oregon, the congressman oversees the committee that basically is writing the bill on the House side in U.S. Congress, and his take is that we need to make sure we're one of the top 10 bridges that need to be replaced, and there are those who think we may be number 11. I'm not sure whether that's just a challenge or not to keep the pressure on, but we definitely need to spread the word to our federal delegation to make sure that the I-5 bridge is included in that package. We have a little letter writing campaign underway, and if anyone would be interested in doing so, we can certainly help them out. We would love to have ports from not just this immediate area, but really throughout the state signal their support for replacing the I-5 bridge and getting that transportation package done. So if they need some help, we'd be more than happy to share with them some example letters, get them a tool, and address it accordingly. So anything we can do to signal our support, I think would be very well received at this point.
So 104-year-old bridge
Yep.
built on mud, and
Yep.
we're number 11.
Yeah.
That seems a little amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess we do have our work cut out for us. I think with that said, you've mentioned a couple of things. This association, the Ports Association, has long been a supporter of advancing this project because absolutely we have data that shows not only the immediate region's benefit of this project, but all up and down I-5. Every port district in the state of Washington along I-5 has commerce, has trade, has freight moving over this bridge. So letter writing, I mean, do we need to be reaching out to our federal delegation? What are some of the strategies that we can incorporate?
Yes, certainly the federal delegation. There's no one not supporting infrastructure investments or the importance of the I-5 bridge, but it's difficult to make a funding decision, and so even in the best of circumstances, so we need to create that nudge and let them know that we understand the critical nature of an infrastructure investment. We like to say that when it comes to infrastructure, it doesn't cost, it pays. And almost always we see infrastructure be a value added to our overall economy. So both sides of the aisle can, I think, get behind that. And we always have to grimace a bit on funding because they are big commitments, but we really need federal, state, and local working together to get this project funded. And I will tell you, the ports have been across Washington state have been fabulous. When we went to bat to get an inventory of the past work done through Senate Bill 5806, and then authorize a bi-state legislative committee to begin work and to open up a project office, the ports were right there and every step along the way, and we really appreciate that. It is critical, as you say, not only for Southwest Washington, but really for the regional and even the North American economy.
That's great. I know we've got the joint Oregon-Washington Legislative Action Committee, the entire delegation from the 49th, and I think actually the 18th, 17th, and 18th as well are all sit on that, as well as the chairs for the transportation committees here in Washington State. And in relationship to the project itself moving forward, is that an organization that folks should be more engaged with to make sure that that the project process doesn't get bogged down?
Sure, although I give them credit. They've done a great job and they brought along the Oregon side as well. The thing that we continue to stress is the importance of a bipartisan base of support. The last project was unsuccessful because it fell apart on bipartisan lines. And what we want to do is make sure that all sides are heard as we all know we need to get this bridge replaced and we need to make some upgrades for safety reasons. We're going to see some congestion improvement. But really, we need all sides of the political spectrum supporting this effort, and that's really the spirit behind the bipartisan legislative working group, which was somewhat non-traditional when that concept emerged, but it did emerge from House, Senate, and Democrat and Republican leaders in this area. But quickly were joined by Senator Hobbs and Representative Fye. They came here, they visited. We still remember Representative Fye going up into the crow's nest where they hand grease 6 miles of cable that raise and lower the bridge, if you can imagine. And we saw the 5-gallon buckets of grease that they do this with. And that bridge sits there and shakes while you're doing it. It's hard to concentrate while you're doing that. And it was at that moment where Jake Fye was 100% in, and he's been a stalwart supporter ever since. So having both our committee chairs plugged in, Curtis King on the Senate side has been down as well. And taking a tour and seeing that firsthand, you realize how critical the infrastructure is and really how outdated it is.
Well, we've gotten our money's worth out of it for sure, but it's absolutely time to move into the current century.
Yeah.
So Ron Arp, I want to thank you for joining us. And you know, this association, WPPA, continues to look forward to working with your organization and others around the state that are interested in advancing this this very important project. And here on Transportation Thursday, we're going to continue to look at important projects, those that have been finished and completed and constructed, and those that we still need to get funded. And so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ron, again for joining us, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. We look forward to having you with us next week on Transportation Thursday.